conclave, and this week is the focus is energetics and talking about um, how we can oftentimes either ourselves or people who we're sitting with can get stuck in loops, like a what appears to be an energetic. Yeah, I don't even know how to explain it outside of just it's like a close repetition of words. And so we'll get deeper into what looping is and stickiness in ceremony and helping and strategies on how we can help people move through that stickiness and in ourselves through that stickiness and um, back into the movement, into energy and motion. And so, again, thank you so much for joining. My name is Benjamin Moore, and we have Carla, who is here as well to join this conversation. And we're very honored to have you today. So, just a small announcement before we get started. We have our group cohort for a 30-day group cohort starts September 7th, Sunday. It's kicked off with a ceremony. It will be at 9 a.m. Central Time. And if you haven't already registered, you can go to our website on the events page. You'll find a place to register, and also low-5.com/Jaguar. And you can register there, and you'll get alerts and updates as they roll out. So you'll be fully prepared for this experience. So without further ado, um, let's kick it off. So thanks, Carla, for being on here with me again. It was such an honor last week to talk to you, and we get to dive in a little deeper in this topic, fun topic. So yeah, I'd love to, as we get started, to invite you to share around your perspectives on what this is and sort of what you've seen.
Yeah, sure. Hi. Yeah, looping, I've seen uh, a few times, and it's very much the way that I've seen it is through words. And I know there are other ways that you can sort of loop, but words has been the way that I've seen it. And it's like, sitting in ceremony, specifically a time like sitting in ceremony, everyone's in a circle, and then all of a sudden one person just starts saying things and then going back to the first thing, saying it all over again, going back. It's like I had never seen it before. This was the first time. I was like,
Yeah,
"What is happening?" So I try it. Anyway, the bottom line is I believe that many times very intelligent people that don't know how to turn their brain sort of off for a little while. They try to intelligent all the things that are happening,
yeah,
and most of it's not really like a intellect. Most of it's like super just magical, like super spiritual things that are happening. So you can't really logic it and all that. And so
right.
I think that happens with a lot of people, and
Yeah,
specifically with looping. And then
sure.
just sticky energy is just like, just things that come up that kind of feel not so good. And then there's different ways to navigate that. So it's just emotions and traumas and past things and all of that we'll talk about that more, but
Yeah, of course.
it's
Yeah. As you're sharing that, I was taken back to my first experience with being in a loop. Um, and so I've
mm,
seen this as a guide in participants that I've guided for and facilitated experiences for, and so dealing with my own experience in that energy sort of helped me to understand what's going on. Um, Back when I was, I'll say, like in the early period of my psilocybin journey, when I was really working through a lot of the heavy densities of life and trying to discover and explore myself. I was working with psilocybin monthly, and I got to the point where I took a really high dose, and I actually took it with Syrian rue. So it was, as they say it, Silawaska. So I just wanted to go deep.
beautiful.
And so in that experience, I remember being stuck on my couch and felt like I had peed my pants, but I couldn't move. I was stuck there, and all I remember doing was I would sit up, and look around and go, I have to go to the bathroom. And I did that like over and over and over. And I
Mm.
remember doing this. It felt like forever. It felt like, I don't know, like it just felt like it never ended. And then there was a period of time where I just let go. Like I was just like, I don't care if I pee my pants. I don't care what. Let it go. I just literally let it go. And once that happened, I remember falling like laying back in complete relaxation, and then going into the experience. And then I was, I was like,
Wow.
I was that this was a time when I was like on the earth and there was nothing. It was barren. There was no animals. There was no humans. It was
Mm.
just plants and water and mountains and streams. It was really interesting.
Mm.
But what I discovered after ceremony when I started to come back is I hadn't peed myself. I wasn't wet. Everything was fine. But my mind had placed a I don't know, like a tension on something
Then.
yep, and I just kept coming back to that, like tick, 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 tick,
Oh.
and so what I noticed is when I let go fully, when I just fully surrendered, I was like, you know what, I don't care. I can't get up. I'm incapacitated, and if it comes, it comes. I'll clean it up later, and what had come from it was bliss, right? I was able to put my physical down, the physical suffering that was going on, which was keeping me trapped, and I was able to expand into an energy bliss, right? Like just go into
Whoa.
the
Yeah.
psychedelic experience. So,
Mm.
um, I thinking about like these different things, and a lot of this stuff is like this sort of like looping experience is for my experience is brought on by elements of the desire to control or be in control of something.
Yeah.
And obviously our normal like everyday human experience, we think we're in control of a lot of things, right? We can make a choice like, okay, I'm gonna go get water and things like that, but we have some, yeah, I think we have some control because
Mhm.
if elements come, lightning strikes, fire happens, like we're not we can't have those things. So there is always variables. I think like the universe is also playing with us. Um, so
Mm.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I just thought I'd bring that in as an interesting like intro story to some people who have maybe had those types of experiences can help just to soften and be like, oh, okay, there's nothing wrong, nothing bad. I think that's just
Mhm.
the nature of these medicines. And so
Yeah.
yeah, and I'll also comment on there's an individual I work with who is a very high performer, high achiever,
Mhm.
and um, she's like in ceremony. There's like high dose of
Mhm.
mushrooms. She was in a point where she would sit up and say, "Am I doing this right? Did I do something wrong?" And then she would lay back down.
Oh, I've seen that
She's
exact
like, "Am I doing
thing.
this right? Did I do something wrong?" And this happened. This went on for an hour. This went on for an hour, and she's sitting up, and
Wow.
so what I'm realizing is like, especially high performers, oftentimes have a um, like a desire to please.
Mm.
They want to either impress themselves, their boss, their family, whatever it is, like the desire to be the best or to perform. And so they're always in this like thought of like, am I doing it perfect? Am I doing the highest
Mhm.
and best, right? And what that can do is create this like critical loop within the mind where it's like constant analysis um, and
Yeah.
so what we did with her is we moved her out to where there was like like a water like a man-made waterfall, and it was loud,
Yes.
like
Perfect.
pouring water, and within 5 minutes she was just like having a conversation about other stuff. She didn't
Right. You just snap out of
and
it. They just
yeah,
stop. Yeah.
yeah, so
It's interesting.
yeah, I'm not sure,
Um,
like thinking about like where it comes from, you know uh things like traumas or other things. What do you think?
yeah, I mean, I definitely believe so I think that the looping not only comes from the, like, people that are super in control or, like, people that are, uh, the things that we already touched on, but I believe that it also, like, if we have a pattern of some, I don't know, a self-destructive type of pattern or something. If there's some sort of pattern that we're living out in our lives, I believe that it comes in through this looping thing in ceremony too to be released. Um, but yeah, I've seen that same exact thing where someone's saying, "Did I do this right? Am I no, it was, am I doing this wrong?" That's what it, am I doing this wrong? And I'm like, I'm looking at my partner, I'm like, "I don't this you can't do this wrong, love, like, there's no wrong
Right.
here," you know?
Right.
And but kept saying it, so I've seen that before, totally, but yeah, where they come from, I believe all this sticky energy, I don't know about the loop exactly, I'm still sort of, like, really amazed at it because it's so odd. Um, but the sticky energy, I mean, whenever we, put something compartmentalize some sort of emotion or some sort of thing, some sort of trauma that we don't feel like dealing with, I'm sorry, that we don't feel like dealing with, and we just keep bottling things up, this sticky energy is just what happens, it's like the messiness. Yeah, we call it the
Mm.
messiness. It's never, you know, too much, it's just like you can see when people are sort of shaking a little bit or sort of like doing, uh, just fidgeting, sort of. It's a different energy than like someone that is just laying back, trusting.
Sure.
The
Yeah.
biggest thing here is trust and not control and release and allow. All of
Yeah.
those words are like the things we want to be doing in ceremony. And when we don't do that, the thing just gets harder.
Right. Yeah.
It's just like the breathing and all that. I mean, there's so many ways to help, and there's so many ways as a person to help themselves through this. But that is the main thing, and then there can be, like, sort of, like, collective. I remember my first probably 5 or 6, psilocybin ceremonies. I just literally purged the whole time, and I kept thinking to myself, "Is this what is this?" And I kept thinking, "It's not me, it's everybody else," and not in the
Mm.
room, everybody else in the world. It was like this
Sure.
whole, I forgot why, but yeah, it could be things like that, like, you could literally, it
Yeah.
was tw 2020,
Right.
all the things were happening, right?
Oh
So,
yeah.
it was really a sad part of the time, I guess,
Hmm.
and all that, so, those kinda things, and then, like, ancestors from, people in your family that have gone through many different, like, there's so many cultures that have gone through so many things in the past. Their DNA is just still holding on to some
Oh
of that,
yeah.
it's
And some of that purging, as you're saying, can be like letting go of that, those traumas, those like old. It's like almost like like our body, our epigenetics, like wants to be created in just in the code that it is, like how we feel, but also like the beginning comes from our ancestors. So whatever
Mhm,
whatever they gave us. So yeah, I think that some of the purging is like us cleaning out
mm,
our cellular structure, right? It's like, and the energy's there. It starts with energy, and it forms into matter. So I think there's a lot of that interplay with the energetic body that is
mm,
getting some of this out. So the looping or the stickiness is just like sort of identifying these different aspects, perhaps, of the ceremony. And I know, like in my experience, I'm one of those practitioners who wants to allow people to find their way, their power, because I believe in them so much.
mm,
And oftentimes there can be maybe like an overstepping of help, where it's like this person isn't it's like almost like an incompatibility
mhm,
where people are incapable. Like people think that others are incapable of doing it, or they have a desire to support them like too much, and it does it sort of takes away their innate power, which we all have. I believe we all have that
mhm,
together, and individually we all have the power each other has. So if someone else is a powerful spirit guide, then everyone has that potential. It doesn't mean that that's what they'll be, but that's within
mhm,
them. And so
yeah,
I think that's sitting in the struggle, sitting just like it's like meditation, right? There's no sensory information there that's coming from with out here. So when you sit in that space, it builds resiliency in that space, in the space of.
yeah,
I think there is something to be said about like if there's stickiness or looping, is there something to be said about allowing people to be there, allowing what the self to be there? You know, that.
Yeah. So for okay, yes, just sitting in it and realizing that this is part of the medicine, like, the medicine's not this is not supposed to be like a fun party type of situation. It's gonna be all of this is always gonna be a little bit difficult, and the way that you move through the difficulty is, like, literally, like, just breathing, counting your breath, feeling your body, feel your heart, feeling your belly. Feeling your toes. We wiggle people's toes.
Yeah. Okay.
In
Yeah.
ceremony, we're like we tell them first that we're gonna do
Yeah.
it all night when we see them struggling, and it brings for some reason, we wiggle their toes, we act like we're gonna bring them in from wherever they're at, right? "We're bringing you home,
Yeah.
we're bringing you back, you're good." It's like it makes it feel this relief. I don't know why I got on that, but that's funny.
Sure. No, that's a
Um,
great technique to like get out of the head, get out of the. Mm-hmm.
right. Yeah, like, anything to just stop, like, of course, like, the breath, like, if the facilitator could go there and just be like, "Don't even say nothing, just" like,
Yeah.
literally, just that's all and a lot of times they'll snap out of it just from that, or, like, there's so many ways, go stand outside, go put your face in the grass, like, just go
Mm-hmm.
lay on your belly grass.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
That's
those
nice.
smells from the earth and the smells, of the grass and all that kinda snaps people out of it. Um, but I have now let I forgot what I was anyway,
Yeah.
I wanna talk about this because I wanna know how you may deal with something like this. So, we've had one good time where someone really was struggling so hard, that she was kinda like we have a lot of instruments and stuff in our studio, so
Yeah.
anybody that's doing this, we're like, "Oh, shit, where's everything at? Move things
Mm-hmm.
around," so,
Sure. Oh yeah.
there was a really hard it was a really hard journey for her, like, we had to take her outside and kinda, like, hold her. She kinda wanted to fight a little bit, and it was
Yeah.
sort of so we took her
Like
away from
activated. Wow.
yeah, and then she was fine. The next morning, it was like, "Oh, wow, thank y'all so much." It's like it's this just most interesting things sometimes. Like, what do you that's definitely a situation that needed help, obviously, if you're
Yeah.
moving around and,
Mm-hmm.
not really realizing what's going on.
Sure.
But just bringing her by the
Yep.
fire is to me, is the best. Bringing her by the fire, we
Yep.
laid her down in the grass, you know, we hu hugged her. That's just all you can do is hold them in safety until they're finished. We're
Yeah.
not some
And
magical "Stop what you're doing" thing.
no, I'm hearing what you're going with that. Like that sounds just right on the money. Like I'm so in ceremony. My approach to people who need to move some energy is get, go outside. And I had a participant last round. Well, actually, this interesting because it's like this the same person
Mm.
or different. Excuse me, a different person, but they laid in the same spot as the person previously had the exact same behavior. Like about halfway through ceremony, they got up and they're just like, I'm like, I'm looking at them like, oh yeah, they don't feel safe, right? I'm like,
Mm.
okay, so how can I bring safety here? How can I bring safety here? Because and then you have there's a couple men standing, which is I'm one of them. And they're just standing like observing. I'm like, oh okay, this is I can see like if I was laying down like in a state
Uh,
of surrender, and then there's like men around. I'm like, oh, I'm just not that they're gonna hurt me, but there's still the brain's like, oh, there's risk. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
need to like find safety. So immediately, obviously, I sit on the ground. I'm like, okay, go low,
Mm.
sit down. So I sit down, and
Nice
I'm like,
job.
no, hey, can we sit down? Like, so let's sit down together. And he's like, nope. He's like, nope, nope. And I'm like, okay. Like so then you start creating the questions are trying to guide, not like trying to create curiosities or thoughts. Just like, doesn't the fire sound nice? Like, doesn't the fire
Oh.
sound warm? Instead of like, hey, do you want to go to the fire? It's like, doesn't a fire sound amazing?
I love
or let's
that.
go. What do you think about how do you feel about going and giving some energy to the fire? Yeah, great.
Mhm.
So like just like not like do you want? It's bringing another element in. So I got him to come outside. And once we went outside, he's like he's just we call it a squirter. He's like he wanted to run. I could tell.
Aw.
And so he's just like he just started walking fast. I'm like, okay. I'm like, hey, do you mind if I walk with you? Like, I'm like, I said, I'm not going to stop you. We can go wherever you want to go, but
Oh,
I just want to make sure you're okay. So he started walking around. This is a giant parking lot. It's a dirt parking lot because we're out in the wood. Well, not totally in the woods, but out west of town. And he's just walking around, exploring. So I just decided I'm going to sit. I'm like, I'm not going to follow him around. So I decided to sit. And he's got this, I don't know, it's like 2 football field wide dirt parking lot. He's just
sure.
wandering around, but I could tell, like I would do, he was like out of the corner of his eye, seeing if I'm following him
Mm.
because he's like, "Are you safe?" Right? So this is like part of that. I don't know if it was some. To me, it's like maybe a connection with some elements of safety in his life, right?
Mm.
And not feeling safe. So he's like, I think he's looking. He's like, Am I safe? Are you following me around because you need to control me?" So I'm like, "No." I just gave him tons of space, and eventually he wandered around. He sat by a tree. And then he
You
turns around, and then he turns around and he hugs the tree. He's
Ah!
like he's like holding on to it. He's like, I'm like, I just sort of watching. I'm like, this is great. This is great.
Yeah.
So, um, that speaks a lot to me about like changing the scenery when there's someone stuck because he was obviously stuck. And if I would have, you know, if I would have pushed him to like control him to be
Lay
like, hey,
down.
sit down, put your
Yeah.
blindfold on, like be in the ceremony, it would have gotten worse and worse and worse, right? But when you allow
Mm.
people's energy to flow where it needs to, it can provide a lot of safety, which safety is where my belief is where the expansion can come from. Because when you can feel totally safe in your body, um,
Ooh,
the
yes.
consciousness can expand and then you don't have to check in. Am I doing this right? Did I mess it up? Did I mess it up for everyone? Did I mess it up? Because that's a common thread as well. Like, did I mess it up for them? Did I mess it up
Yeah.
for my neighbor? Like, so,
Aw.
but safety in the body, I think, can alleviate a lot of that because then they can expand. They can be like, oh, okay, I don't need to worry about 3D. Like, let's go. They call it 5D.
Yeah.
Let's go out there. Um, so, uh,
Yeah, totally safety. Um, and then sort of like we were talking about redirecting it, but,
right.
like relanguaging it too, instead of being like messy or stuck. Like, we call it messy just because it's kind of like a fun messy or something, like, we don't
Yeah.
we don't look at it as bad. So anyway,
No, it's not
just
bad.
just a like not for you, but just if for anybody out there that thinks these are bad experiences. They're just experiences, and the way that the medicine works is that they're gonna do what you need them to do. It's not
Yeah.
supposed to always be bliss. However, there are so many other things that may happen, like the bliss comes, all the joy
Yeah.
comes, the gratitude comes, the tears come from just absolute, being in love with God and nature, like
Hmm.
all the things, so that's just this what we're talking about is just it may or may not happen, right? It's like,
Yeah.
it's unpredictable, but it's not super normal for everybody to have that, for people to
Not
have
at
that.
all. Not
You
at
know?
all. I think that the key here is to understand uh, that the whole this is a continuum of an experience that it's just
Yeah.
we're just really the blissful things. It's interesting because like I guess reviews only used to be for bad news, right? Where you'd be like, okay, what's the problem here? But it's just thinking about safety stuff, and I'm
Mm,
speaking to often the way I'm speaking is like speaking to other guides or practitioners, individuals. Well, when they're individuals by themselves, like maybe they're not aware of these things happening because they're just happening.
right.
That's
Yeah.
sort of what I discovered in my process is like when I would do my own medicine, I would be alone most of the time. So there was no one there to, hey, is
Mm,
this guy in a loop? Hey, is this guy stuck or is this?
uh,
So I could just go on about my business, right? And um, which is nice. There's obviously not, I'm not advocating for that. I think it's not necessarily the safest path. especially if you're using like high doses of medicine. They should always have some sort of support, whether it's someone in the home or maybe right outside. But there is some, and we've spoken about this on like other conclaves. There is some freedom to not having an observer. The observer effect
Mhm.
is real, and
Oh,
in
yeah.
medicine especially, you're very sensitive to it, like extremely. So, but in that, it can also help to help move things through. Like observers also can provide assistance when there really is a need. And one of the ways in which that I provide assistance to people is through like mirroring breath. So,
Mm,
and breath work is, I think it's a I wouldn't say it's like it's not make or break. It's not super most important thing, but it is a useful skill to practice. That way, uh, individuals who are going through ceremony or going through medicine work can have a tool to actually navigate the experience. The breath sort of modulates all that stuff, but is
mm,
what my practice is and my approach is. I'm not trying to tell like if they're having their or like in panic mode or whatever it is,
sure.
I just walk over, and I've done this with a woman on the plane as well when we were having really bad turbulence. So I'm just like, breathe with me, and then I'm mirroring. So I'm like actually mirroring, projecting, right? Just like copy me, so I can
Mm,
copy the vibration. So get in my vibe essentially. And then inviting them to that, right? Because if I'm like, hey, remember to breathe, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in,
mm.
I mean, that can work. That can work, but it's intellectualizing it, and it's now you're adding another layer into the experience
Ooh.
instead of just do as I do.
Mm.
So you do that a few
That's
times, and
really
with breath especially,
Yeah.
when you're on psychedelics. I don't know if you ever do like breath holds or breathing, but it can like get you back in.
I don't. I mean, I just try to keep my breath very, very relaxed. I've never actually done, like, breath work in the middle of an experience. I've heard about it, and I'm like, "I wonder what that would be like," because it's almost like just doubling it's
Yeah, it seems it's interesting. I mean, I'm not when I'm in like the peak, I'm just in it. I'm just like
yeah,
comatose.
exactly.
But like coming in or like going up or the come down, it's fun. I find it fun to like see. It's almost like blowing up a bubble. Like how much can I inflate this thing? Um, yeah. So we talked a little about breath work. What do you think about like somatic movement, things like that?
Yeah, if you can get the people if they will move,
Yeah.
just a little bit of, like, even back and forth, like, like a
Like what
shaking
you're
like
doing there?
this. Just a real
Yeah.
easy,
Mhm.
and it's but it's coming from my if you could see my whole body, it's coming from from the base of from, like, my butt. The whole
Your
thing is
hips, yeah, yeah,
wiggling
like
from
your
my
rib.
hips, right. So the whole
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so that is really good really for girls too, m a lot. I don't know if more, but I would
yeah,
think just because we have so much going on there,
yeah.
it just will it helps me bring me back into my body more when
Sure.
I'm just trying to kinda come back. I can't even say I've ever had, like, a really like, a looping thing happen to me, and all of the energy is just energy when it comes to the end of it. It's like, are you
Yeah,
gonna breathe with it and flow with it, or are you gonna just fight with it? Like, you could fight if you want, or you can allow it to be and allow it to go. But
yeah,
as a facilitator, I just think it's important to, like, if you know that person's in that sort of, issue, it's important, I believe, to just go and maybe put, like, one hand on the shoulder real soft, just kinda
okay.
make them so that they can feel themselves almost. It's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
there's a body here," and that or
yeah,
maybe if it's especially if it's a girl, like, hold her hand, to, um, and just sitting there and breathing with them, and sometimes we'll offer rape or something like that, but that might even be worse sometimes. So it's kind of
Oh,
like
because then go take them deeper. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like it kind of depends on when it is in the ceremony, if it's at the beginning or the end or in the middle, and there's a few different things, but um, also like the music, you know, keeping the music is so important in ceremony. And if there's too much words, then sometimes that can send people in a loop. And if there's too
Yeah.
much words, sometimes we had somebody one time that just got scared that me and my co-facilitator were gonna I'm so sorry. It's so insane that it's just kind of funny that we were gonna, like, sacrifice him or something when it was, like, this
Oh, yeah.
weird thought. I'm like, we
Hmm.
looked at each
I've
other
had
like,
that.
"Whoa." But we listened to the song that was playing, and it was not the right song for him at that moment. It was all about the
Got it.
music. They were like, "Something's about to happen."
Yeah.
Anyway, music is really important. Like, I believe in medicine music with the words too, but, like, the rest of the music, I almost feel like needs to be, like, non-worded, so we're not
Yeah.
putting things into their heads for them to
Sure.
just
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Because yeah, people are in a critical learning period, right? So like, because this medicine, it smashes away the patterns, the old ones. New stuff is very easy to groove in there. So yeah, to your point,
Mm.
um, we're very minimal on words, and post, like, I call it the afterglow period, but like where
Yeah,
it's like
that's
landing and
mm,
people are talking, things like that. Some music with words that's like nourishing, uplifting, expansive,
mhm.
non-attachment stuff, right?
Yeah.
It can be really helpful.
Mm,
It really can elicit some catharsis for individuals who they can
mhm.
relate. Like, there's one I play with Bufo ceremonies, Hallelujah, and it's just, it's not telling you to fall to your knees and worship anyone. It's not telling you to believe anything or do anything. It's just saying
Hallelujah.
hallelujah. Like, life is beautiful. It's bliss. It's so living and experiencing that in that way, being able to understand that, there's so many. I don't know if you what your experience is with psilocybin especially, but I would say that at least half of participants that come through end up with more curiosities,
Oh, yeah.
not like, oh, I answered this question, like, that was interesting. I got some clarity, but I'm curious
No.
about, like, I'm curious about more stuff, or and going deeper, or just exploring different aspects. So the music can really take that and help them to stay in that expansive state. And I think it's so important. It's just, but it goes, this speaks to, I don't want to go too sidebar, but this speaks to like the things we're consuming all the time. It's all the music,
Yes.
right? Because the mushrooms can show you like these tight little pattern. It's like a tight of time. But wow, what does that show you? Like the sensitivity to everything all day long. So if we can live in that way where we're acknowledging that what's coming in is sort of helping to create how we feel and where we go, then we can really um, take the
Mhm.
time to create the life we'd like by putting the elements around us that we like, right? Crystals, music, smoke, uh, people, all that stuff.
Yeah. Clean space.
Yeah, that's
And
very,
that's
very
super
important.
important,
Hmm.
to me anyway. I feel like
Yeah,
I don't it doesn't matter what I do if my space isn't clean, I just feel dirty, and I don't feel
yeah.
good. My energy's not gonna be
I've had one experience in my mushroom journeys where I hadn't done the dishes before. Before I did my experience. It was
good.
so bad because like normally I'm like nice and clean. I don't know what it slipped my mind this time. So on the afterglow period, where this is when I'm standing up, I put music on, I'll be dancing, making food. I walk in the kitchen and it looked like the worst scene out of like the worst movie of like just a gross kitchen, and it was terrible. My brain was like attuning to that. It's like, oh my god, it looks so bad. Well, needless to say, I didn't make food. I snacked. The next morning, I went into the kitchen. There was like three dishes in the sink.
Oh my
The
god,
paper
that's so
towels were out. Like, it wasn't bad, but my mind, because it wasn't clean and organized. My brain went all the way to the extreme. It's like, no, this is gross. So um, I think it's to your point. Um, we're so sensitive. We become so sensitive, like a nerve. So having a clean environment is very nourishing. It enables the deeper in broader expansion.
Mhm.
Uh, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, there was something I wanted to touch on, but I keep forgetting. Um, yeah, the cleanliness.
We talked. Yeah. Well, we talked. I guess I get that lends to like maybe thinking about like in the environment, and I mean we touched a little on that with my anecdote about changing the environment for people.
Yeah, um, yeah, I'm kinda out of stuck, like, yeah, but water, like, drink water.
Yeah.
I can't remember what
Yeah.
I had a thing to say, but I totally forgot, so it messed up
And
my
then
mind,
smoke
but
too. Smoke's
drink
helpful.
water.
Yeah.
Smoke is really good, some mapacho,
Smoke
just someone
safe.
blowing it
Yeah.
around is super
Mm-hmm.
nice.
Be grounding.
And there's so
Yeah.
as a facilitator, which you can do, but there's a lot that can't that you really shouldn't do probably too. But
Right.
wait, what
Sure.
shouldn't we do as a facilitator when this happens?
Oh wow. I
That's a
think
good
yeah.
that's an interesting.
Yeah. I mean, my I have a my perspective is don't don't touch or push or get try and move the energy for people that haven't asked for it.
Ooh,
Now, if you ask for an invitation before ceremony, be like, hey, I might move
yes.
energy, things like that, by all means. But if there's no permission, what that can do is it can trigger more stuff where they're
Mhm,
like, what are you doing? Especially
exactly.
people that get that fight or flight kicked off
Mhm,
work because they're going through whatever they're going through. It's their own movie that's playing and they're like having to like
mhm,
relive it. So when you come in, if they look
mhm.
at you, they're like, you oftentimes can become a character
Of
in
course.
their experience,
Mhm.
and that can create challenges. I've,
Yeah.
so where
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
so then now we have to move through that element, which is like, no, you're safe, and now there's validation, and now there's so my process and approach is less. People are their own healers. They can heal themselves with these plants. This is what nature gave us these plants for. There are gifted individuals who have giftings to move energy, to see, to hear, to understand.
Mhm,
Um, but if people aren't prepared for that, then it can create more chaos. So as a practitioner, it's like ask for permission first. Fully give like say like a briefing. So when we have participants come and sit
mhm,
with us, we're giving them a briefing on everything that's going to happen. So there may be like light codes coming through, or singing, chanting, some light touch if necessary, or some smoke, some movement. So that way, when their program is running and they're wherever they are, they can remember that they already consented and you gave them that information to begin with. So there's no surprises. And if you didn't
yeah.
give them the information, then they can't throw anything in after ceremony starts. It's like nope. Once you take the
Yeah.
medicine, like it sort of locks it in.
Yeah. Like, you're just here.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, relax. Yeah,
yeah,
so I I think that, telling them what to do is so no. Like, telling
yeah,
them, "Come," like, I
yeah,
love how you worded that made it a question, like, instead of saying, "Come outside with me,"
yeah,
saying, "Would you like to go sit by the fire? Would you like" I
yeah,
love that because I don't think
yeah,
anything telling them what to do is just trying to control them more, and then
yeah.
they
And then it creates resistance, right? Compulsion leads to resistance at our deepest level, and as I think our deepest core is no one wants to be told what to do. People want
Mm.
to have they want to be divinely inspired.
And we have to believe in the sacrament. We have to believe
Yep.
that and that's the bottom line. That's what I learned a couple weekends ago because
Yeah.
I was like, "How," in this whole thing, and then I realized, no, yeah, it's just what it is, it's gonna pull up things, it's gonna all come out, it's gonna shake you up a little bit, like, as long as we can just
Right.
be completely if as long as for anybody out there that is listening to this that needs this like that, listen, everything's gonna be amplified in a ceremony or in a
Yep.
medicine. everything will be amplified. So remember to just come in, maybe leaving the baggage on the porch kind of thing. You can pick it up on the way home if you want,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of thing. That because everything will just get worse if you're having like a bad day or a bad experience and you stay in that and then take something on top of it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's rough.
yeah.
That's gonna be rough. Yeah. So that I guess that leads us towards the part where we're maybe chatting about, the lessons that come through these experiences, right? So, and how do we? So like, there's all this talk about integration and
Mhm.
you know how to integrate these lessons that these experiences can bring forward. And you know, I
Mhm.
previously, like, I would never journal after. What would come through me is like on the come up, I'm like note taking, tons of notes, tons of notes, tons of
Wow.
notes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, and then I'm like, I'll go until I can't see anymore. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and then I'm out. And then the afterwards is like my integrations like dancing and somatic movement, things like
Yeah.
that. But everyone is different, and what the professionals say is like a journal afterwards is what is ideal. So,
Oh.
do you have an approach that you do or you work with?
I mean, as far as integration,
Yeah,
I just talk. Like me and my
yeah,
partner talk, me and my ceremony partner talk, like we just talk. And I mean, I can pretty honestly say, or maybe 98% of the time, my I feel like I've integrated the experiences that I've had, um, to a point where everything I look out outside is alive and beautiful and
oh yeah,
thriving because the sun and the rain and all these, so I feel like I've done a good integration, and I don't, um, and I will continue to, talk. I do it talking.
yeah,
That's
sure,
all.
great, yeah. I
Talking
mean,
and
that's what it is, right?
I
So,
don't think I've ever had really a bad an experience that I can say was, like, something that I was, like, bad, I mean,
mhm,
that I had to do some deep, deep work with, you know? It's
yeah.
interesting. Um,
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's just the more practiced you are, the less that those things even exist, right?
yeah,
Because it's just like,
that's what I
oh,
think.
I mean, I have these like scary things pop up, or just like, I'm like, wait a minute, this is just something I need to experience. I'm not like, oh my God, what was
Right,
that, right? And I think that's the
that's
realization, like when you're in surrender, and in the sort of like radical
yeah.
acceptance, just like, okay, like I saw some stuff, great,
Yeah, exactly, either fight with it or just wait for it to pass and
yeah.
allow yourself to learn from it. So let it be a teacher, let it be some sort of a different type of guide that will show you how you're looping around life yourself, like in the physical, you know,
Yeah,
or whatever it
and
is.
so on that note too, I'll just add like practices like yoga, obviously meditation, somatic movement, things like that are very useful in these states
Mhm,
of, say, critical learning period, which is up to 60 days post ceremony. The body is like actually latching onto and creating new patterns. So if you build those things into the your experience, like, okay, yoga once a week. It's not that much, but what it does is it's connecting you to that process. So then after 2 months, you're almost, let's say, like hooked. So,
mhm,
but
that's right.
you're able to do this for things that are useful, beneficial, and actually thinking about the concept of yoga itself is an elongation, right? It's like
Mm,
it's to create spaciousness in the body, so there's less resistance, less restrictions, right? If you have neck resistance, that creates pain. Pain limits creation to a degree, or it changes it. And so
mm,
having this like open and expansive physical state can really help to alleviate any sticky, any loopy energy that comes through with these medicines. I'm not sure. I don't know any yogis who are like really, uh, really practiced that are stressed out, that are
no.
like worried about anything. They're just like, yeah, whatever. Like the world's on fire. Like, okay, I'm stretching. I'm good. My body's good. So, It's just because it's at, my it's not just my belief, lots, but like as above, so below. But it's also inverse, right? So the way you treat your body is the way that you experience reality. And you can do it both ways. You can
Mhm,
go in the mind and set the intention, set the program, meditate, think about, oneness, unity, but
mhm.
again, it's always coming back into the body. That's why we talk about like somatic release, right? Because it's
Yeah.
everything's feeding into the body. But what if we could shift that from feeding the body to the body actually feeding the mind and feeding the experience, right? I think there's a lot
Wow.
of things, there's a lot of nuance there that we can like actually go forward and program ourselves to uh, be in a more blissful state by practicing it
Mhm. Oh,
physically.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
physically practicing it.
that's a beautiful, and I'll just do a little quick story. Long 2020, when I kinda started this whole thing, um, I made this I would just start saying thank you. Like, I know this is totally off subject, but it's still gonna be good for people.
Okay.
So, I would just start, trying to train my mind to be blissful, right? So,
Yeah.
drive down the street going to work, and I would say, "Just thank you for every blade of grass, thank you for every cloud." So I was just, like, being thank you for everything, and after about 2 or 3 months, like, bliss was not hard to get into. Like, um yeah, those states of joy and bliss, almost like ceremony, were not hard to get into. It's almost like you just have to train. We're so trained to not we're
Mm-hmm.
so trained to go the other way. Like, why do we wake
Very
up in the
strange.
morning and think about the bad things that's gonna happen? Why don't we wake up in the morning like, how does this even it's so interesting
Well,
how
exactly.
our minds it's just silly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thinking about that, yeah, that practice, my belief is practice, and,
Mhm.
and and having a community or being a part of a community. If you're not, well, you are now because you're in our community. So, if you're watching this, of course,
Mhm.
come on and visit with us. Come to all of the experiences. Like we're here to support you in that way. But being in a community can help to remind you that there is joy and bliss, and when you get stuck you can go like, hey, I need help, I need support, I need
That's right.
whatever you need, and someone can come forward with an answer, a solution, maybe direct help, and
Mm.
so all is welcome in our community. So I just like to
Yeah.
make sure that's known. Okay, well, is there anything else that's coming up that's alive for you that you wanted to share?
Um, no, I don't think so. I think just make su for participants, just ask for help if you need help. A lot of times
Yeah.
we just don't know that you're crying for like, reason that you need help with, or just
Mm-hmm.
crying because the medicine is just beautiful, so who knows? Ask for help if you need help. Like, that's my biggest thing is like just, raise your hand, stick a leg
Yeah,
out, do something. Let us help you if you need it. Because we don't wanna bother you if you don't. Like, I
exactly.
can't, it bothers me when I see somebody, like, pulling someone out of an experience, so
I
yeah,
understand that.
totally.
Definitely. So, well, okay. Well,
Mm,
thank you,
thank
Carla, for the
you.
amazing conversation today. And
Yeah,
yeah, thank you everyone for joining. It's so grateful to have the ability and opportunity to sit here and share information, wisdom, experience with you all, and really invite any feedback, please share it with us. There's links in, if you're on YouTube, links down below this to
mhm.
click on. You can add feedback. We need feedback. We thrive on feedback. Feedback is amazing, good, bad, or otherwise. It helps us to formulate ways in which we can improve and give you and bring you higher quality content and other services. So, with that, just a reminder, September 7th is our next Light Wand meditation. It's also the kickoff for the 30-day group protocol, which will be working with the Sacred Bundle for 30 days. So it'll be Light Wand and then Unity Mist and then 30 days of microdosing with journal prompts and community collaborations, etc. So we're really excited for this launch and um, all the other amazing things to come. So